scorned lovers or whatever, and that they'd killed the wife, and she's laying on the ground with, Heinz 57 laying her, blood. And then all of a sudden her ghost rises up and she's like, what, am I a ghost? It's like, it was so cheesy. And then I was like, is she a ghost?
Yeah, right.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, and welcome to another episode of the Better Merch, Better Marketing podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kirby Hasseman. Joining me is the better host of this fine broadcast. It's our branding bestie, Jade Kreider. Jade, how are you this week?
Better host. I am living for that. I am fantastic. I'm having a good week so far. We're recording it a little bit earlier, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm just excited. How are you?
I'm doing all right. This is one of the things that, this time of year can be, it's like hurry up and wait a lot of times. Like you're really busy and then you're waiting on things to keep things rocking and rolling. So we are just hoping for some, last minute busyness because I like that. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well. If you are new around here and you're listening to this for the first time, the Better Merch, Better Marketing podcast is brought to you by Hasseman Marketing. You can learn more about us at hassemanmarketing.com. We've got all kinds of content on there, all kinds of tools for marketers and folks in leadership and HR. So go check it out at hassemanmarketing.com. All right. So Jade, let's see here. You have sent me topics, so I should really get those up. Do you want me to kind of lead the way on this first one?
Please.
All right. I'll do my best. Okay. So this was actually a topic if you've never heard me talk about this before, I get my news from an email newsletter called The Morning Brew. I'm a big fan. Maverick loves it too. It feels like it's not super political, but you get to keep up on things. Mm-hmm. So one of the topics from that was a topic called microdramas. So essentially microdramas are like ongoing, like either features, like a feature film, like a short feature film, or like an ongoing drama. Like in my mind, it's like a soap opera or something like that, but it's shot vertically, right? So it's shot like it would be on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever. And they're condensed down into 2-minute segments. So you shoot the whole thing and then you break it up into 2-minute segments. They are edited like a show. And from what I've seen, they're super cheesy. From what I've seen. And the funny thing is I'd never seen one until I started talking about them to you and then all of a sudden it showed up in TikTok, but no, they don't listen. Anyway. So this is one of those things wherever there's a content driven trend or topic, I'm like, A, I wonder if Jade's heard about this. And then B, how can it relate? How could you do something with it? So
oh, smart. Yeah.
Right? Like, so how could we
get deeply into it?
Yeah. So that's where my head always goes.
Okay, so my brain is already there. Okay, 2 things. Number 1, these are all over my TikTok page. It's often horrible acting, at least the ones on my page. And I'm not saying they all are, so if you have one that you love, don't kill me for this.
Whatever.
9 times out of 10, it is horrible acting, and it's almost always like the person who helps the old lady, and so then this big CEO hires them because they were nice even though they were late to their appointment because they helped this 90-year-old woman. It's always that like
okay, got it.
On mine. And for some reason, every single time it sucks me in and I fall for it. And I end up trying to find the part 2 every time. However, so almost always horrible acting. However, what's really funny is I was looking for topics today and was like, okay, what are some social media companies that are doing social media really well? Like literally that was one of my searches of like, who could we use? And apparently there was one, and I don't remember, because I clicked out of it. So it's funny that we're now talking about this. They apparently are killing it because they're telling the story of their brand. It was a perfume brand through like 10 different TikTok videos. And it was like the fact that she remembered him because of his scent or something. Like she smelled him coming. It was like a blind person or like, something like that cheesy. But it worked. And I was like, oh shit, they're doing it. Like, so then you just said that and my brain was like, oh wait, somebody is doing this with their brand. So how? I brought it back. You got that was so ADHD central, but we're going with it.
Yeah. So this is the kind, and it doesn't always work, right? And it would be a lot of production, but again, understand that what I'm seeing They are very soap opera, very cheesy, very, like you said, like not professional acting. Again, hardly an expert on this, but this is one where I'm like,
Right.
it feels like that's kind of what it is. Like they're doing
And it's
that on
working.
purpose. Right.
Yeah, and that's it, is they kind of own it.
And so how do you, and like I'm asking the question for us, but then of the audience, how do you then, like you could do it as a, not as a traditional marketing thing. One of the,
Right.
one of the, I've heard people say is we need to treat our marketing like we're Netflix. Now, sometimes they mean that you need to do more data research, which Netflix does a ton. But on the other side, it's like, man, if you can bring somebody into a story, now all of a sudden you have something. You invite them in, they're invested in your brand, they're invested in the drama. And so
Well, that, and they're already
how
there.
does that work?
Like, it's even, I've seen a bunch of like just TV shows. There's a bunch of different pages. Again, they're usually
Mm.
like the captions are not in English, ironically, the ones that I see. But like they're just putting like the 30 seconds of a movie or something like that.
Oh,
And
I
it's
watch
funny
those all the
because
time.
I watch them and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen that movie in a while. I should go watch 10 Things I Hate About Him or Hate About You. Him. And so like it's funny because though it's not, I don't know if it's their intent, but it does. It gets me to go then watch the other thing. And so a lot of times I find myself going to watch part 2 of these micro dramas, whether they're good or bad. I about said horrible and then realized that was a bit harsh. But yet I watch them and ironically, if you go to the comments, because I always go to the comments, it's really where I'm at. They all say like, why am I watching this? Why am I invested in where the part 2 is? Why do I care so much about what happens in part 3?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not the only one that is weirdly invested into these stories.
Well, at the end of the day, I think we all love a story, right? Like one of my favorite quotes is like, stats tell, stories sell. And so again, if you can bring people into a story, we all love being invited into
moments.
A story. Yeah. Well, and it doesn't, like the one I saw was terrible. It was like that was very soap opera-ish. Two scorned lovers or whatever, and that they'd killed the wife, and she's laying on the ground with, Heinz 57 laying her, blood. And then all of a sudden her ghost rises up and she's like, what, am I a ghost? It's like, it was so cheesy. And then I was like, is she a ghost?
Right. You're right.
So anyway, I don't know how we can tie that to marketing joy, but I'm going to give it some thought. So yeah,
So yeah, if you're in the comments, you can tell us how we can tie this to marketing.
Yeah.
And how we can make, we'll kill the CEO Kirby. And his ghost will come back to haunt us with merch. He'll just throw branded cups at us.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we've got the beginnings of a plot. I'm excited about that. All right. So yeah.
That's that laugh. We're getting giggly today. Okay, I guess I'm leading the next one.
Right.
Speaking of the TikToks, a video came up on my feed today, and I've already been thinking about the fact because I had a little bit of a moment yesterday where I went, "It's November. We're halfway through November. Oh God, how did we end up here? Thanksgiving is next week. What's going on?" And so I had a little bit of a moment of like, okay, it's time to do like it's funny. I thought it's time to start thinking about my goals and start thinking about our Q4 meeting and stuff like that. And it came up on my page on like 3 scrolls later. And so the user was Beck Stewart is who did it. And so if you want to go check her out, I actually went back and stalked a lot of the stuff that she posted back in 2024. But she does a New Year prep series is what she calls it. And so I kind of wrote down some of the notes of it and I thought I would share it because I thought it was really, really interesting. So she says it's a 5-step process. So, we're going to really talk about number 1, but I'll tell you all 5 steps just to kind of cover it. So number 1 was year in review and yearly audit. So kind of just looking back at your last year. Number 2 is set your vision, create your vision boards. Number 3 is set your goals. Number 4 is set your habits. And then number 5 is track and reward, which is where I think I am probably the worst at, frankly, if I'm candid. But so I really kind of wanted to talk about the way that she said it's a series and I'm following the series. So she's only posted video number 1, but I thought you would find this, again, you're a goal nerd. And so I thought you would find this very interesting. So step 1 of year in review is to analyze your wins and wins in disguise. So your wins are like, obviously they're your achievements, your growth, what's, gone well. But your wins in disguise are the things that you really struggled with or you were really challenged with that taught you something that you went, oh, yeah, I kind of had to go through that. So it essentially was saying, like, acknowledge those, write them down, and see what helped so that next year when you're setting your goals, maybe you push yourself into some of those more uncomfortable positions so that you can grow, which I thought was a really interesting take.
Yeah.
Step 2 was lessons or missed opportunities. So any of the flops, fails, or things that just didn't work, just write them down. Now you know. And then number 3, which I thought was one that I could use to really do, is self-reflection of the pattern. So the themes, trends, or triggers in your mindset that you should or should not carry into 2026. And then number 4 is just reflection and gratitude. So a lot of this was just, again, looking rather before you even set your goals. The whole point was to start now. Start in November. Start looking at your stuff for 2025 so that when you're going into 2026, you've already gotten a head start on some of this and you've really taken the time to put thought into your goals for 2026 so that you truly have thought about these. And I thought this was a really cool, especially at this time of year, talking about gratitude kind of at the end of this process, a way to really truly like audit 2025 and take a moment to like see what you've learned and how you can put that into 2026. So I'd love your thoughts.
Yeah, as you might expect, I really like this. And I think that a couple thoughts. So number 1, and this is something that you and I talked about off camera that you didn't mention just now, so I want to put that, is that the idea of setting your goals on January 1st or January 7th, or it's too late. It's like the year's already started. And the problem is that then you always feel rushed. And we're talking as someone, even if you're like, okay, it's December 30th or whatever. It's like, okay, what do I want to do? And so starting it now, I think, is such a good thing that most of us won't do. Like this should almost be like a section of, you probably won't do this, but you should. Right? Like,
literally.
The other thing that she talked about there that is really, and you said it several times, but the art of self-reflection. I don't often do a great job of that because I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? And I think a lot of goal driven folks are like that, but I do agree. I think looking back and going, ooh, yeah, let's go back through my calendar. What worked? What didn't work? Like I think back to my year just right off the top of my head, and that 1 month in July where I took out of the office is like, okay, what did I learn from that? And am I like, I feel like I've fallen back into the busy habit of taking on every project when the whole thing was to get me out of the way of some of that. And so I don't do that unless I do that self-reflection. Right.
Well, and I thought it was really interesting too, because again, starting now, there's 2 parts to it. Number 1, there's still a month and a half left to complete your 2025 goals.
Yes.
And so it's funny because I was going back and I was like, do I still have my 2025 goals written down? By the way, I did. Proud of myself for still knowing exactly where they were at.
Nice.
But ironically, I went through, I have 3 of them done. 3 of them done. I set like 1,500. I set way too many goals. So that's part of it. But
that's one of the lessons.
Funny. Right. It's one of the lessons I took away, but I went through this and just went, oh, okay, well, first of all, there's still a ton of time. Like I've almost got a handful of these done and I still have a month and a half, but I also went, oh, you know what? Finishing the Harry Potter series was one of my goals this year. I'm on book 6. It's time to finish 7 and 8. Like, come on, just do it already. And so like,
just 7.
It's a little bit of, is there not 8?
No, they made 2 movies out of the last book.
Oh, that's where I made that up. So
yeah, it's just 7.
Yeah. So yeah, I really only have one more. So like, again, I'm on the home stretch of these series, but again, it just was a little bit of a reminder of that. But 2, I feel like we've talked a lot about just a self-reflection here lately. And I think I really could use to, not in any type of way, but just sit down and go, okay, what are the things that I loved this year? What are the things that I did not love this year? Like, what are the things that I did that I just went, oh, I really don't need to do that? What screen times do I, like, how much of my screen time should I not take into 2026? How much screen time did I spend? Is that one of my goals for 2026? So just things like that, evaluating it now gives me an opportunity to go, okay, what can I put into place in December so that it even becomes achievable in January? So I'm excited. I don't know.
I love it. And the other thing I want to give credit to where I got this idea was John Acuff. And he talks about the idea of trying goals out right now, because so many times, again, if we set it, the problem, a lot of times what happens is that week between Christmas and New Year's, a lot of people are not as busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have time, that's cool. So people are like, okay, now's when I'm going to set my goals. The problem with setting your goals when you're on vacation is that you don't have the whirlwind of your life to get in the way. And so you're like, that's it. I'm running a marathon because I have all the time in the world to work out right now. But next week you won't. So giving yourself a way to try something out is you can see if you can actually do it in your real life. The other thing is you might find out you don't actually like it. And so you set a yearly goal of, and I think I've said this before, it's like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to cook Japanese food. And then you're like, I don't like it. I've set a yearly goal around food. So, like understanding that just trying them to get yourself ready. I love that concept. I think that's really interesting.
Well, and we talked too about the great lock-in of Gen Z and stuff like that. So again, now is the time. But the other thing that even crossed my mind, I was looking at these goals. So I rewrote them because you know me, I'm a paper person. I like to see them. I wanted to make notes next to them and like put my thoughts down. And I realized, and I looked at when I added these because I use Notion, and so it has a date. I added these a week and a half before I found out I was moving to Georgia. And then the military said, let me say, screw all that noise. And so again, it's just I didn't go through quarterly and go back to these goals and reevaluate. And so that's one of the things that I have got on my list of things I want to do better next year is going in quarterly and going, are these even what I want to do anymore?
Yes.
Like, is this still where I want to be? Is this still a goal I want to set? Because maybe I'm not going to finish Harry Potter because I moved and my reading didn't happen the same way. I'm going to finish Harry Potter. Let me make that so abundantly clear. It's happening. I'm almost done with the 6th book. So anyways, but I just thought it was a really cool, like I saw this and was like, I love the idea of spending the next week or two to just audit 2025. I'm not setting goals yet. I'm not putting anything on paper yet, but just auditing and thinking and brainstorming. So
yeah. And so two things. Number one, I love it when you get to places in the Harry Potter books and then just randomly text me things. You're like, oh, did this just happen? Sure did. Because I read it a long time ago.
I actually almost texted you last night. So, anyways, sorry. I won't make everybody else listen.
But so it's funny because I actually have started this process just a little bit differently. And I wanted to at least share the process really quickly.
Tell me.
Is I have set my big lighthouse goal, the 10x goal of the sales. I've set myself an income goal that I want to hit. So then I actually went to my personal custom GPT, Kirby Hasseman, that I've trained that has all my stuff in it. Yeah, and then I'm utilizing AI to help me craft not only my goal, but then, okay, what should 2020, because my goal is through 2028. So that's sort of the lighthouse goal. Smart. Then it's like, okay, what should that look like in 2026? What should that look per quarter? And now I'm not all the way through it, but I want to start setting quarterly goals based on the lighthouse goal, then the yearly goal, then the quarterly goal. And then back to what you said is then, okay, what are the 5 to 10 things I need to do every single day if I'm serious about that? Because I think that's the part that almost all of us get away from is doing the thing every day. Like Dan Martell said, what are you willing to do for 1,000 days in a row? And I was just like, interesting. Like most people are not willing to do anything for 1,000 days in a row. Right. And so that's the process I'm going through right now. So it's funny that you're like, I feel like this is a place where our things have overlapped a little bit.
Our worlds collide.
Right. Yep. I like it. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay. Last week on the podcast, and I know for all of our dedicated, loyal listeners, I think I brought up the topic. I was like, "Ooh, this should be a topic." And
it helped me out.
God love Jade. She's like, "Oh, cool. Let's check." So you have recently, I'm a believer in marketing on LinkedIn, especially for what we do. I think it makes sense. And then you recently signed up for the trial, and now I think are paying for the Navigator on LinkedIn. So for the benefit, I thought, hey, for the benefit of those in sales and marketing or whatever, what is it that you're trying to do to utilize this to help your sales right now?
Yeah. So I'm going to get into two parts of this, and I want to start this with, if you are not utilizing LinkedIn for you and specifically for your company, do it. Take 10 minutes, go look at your LinkedIn, update it. Anything you're posting anywhere else should absolutely be posted to LinkedIn. Share it there. There's not too many posts, like that just doesn't exist there. It's funny because one of the sales reps and I were going through kind of a process today. We're doing kind of a profiling thing, and we went to the LinkedIn of one of said people, and I'm not going to say any type of names because we got there and there hasn't been a post on their LinkedIn in 7 months. And it was funny because the sales rep was like, I could have swore they just posted. And I was like, yeah, they posted on Instagram. They just didn't share it to LinkedIn, which is just a missed opportunity because then you go to LinkedIn when you're hiring or when you're doing this or when you're posting this, and then there's not that history. So this is me, just my first tip to anyone and everyone is update your LinkedIn. Yeah. When you're going to find a job and when you're going to hire for somebody or when you're going to do whatever, then suddenly you wish your LinkedIn was updated. There's just a level of just do it. It's a free tool. Utilize it. Now, the LinkedIn Navigator is a whole monster within itself that I did a free trial for, I think like a year or two ago. And I don't know that I fully understood what it was. There is so much to it behind the scenes that it's almost overwhelming. So I would recommend, feel free to reach out to me. I can show you what I know. I don't know everything, but I'm still learning. Reach out to somebody, watch a YouTube video, watch a TikTok video, Google it. Do some research on what all it can help with, because I'm sure there's ways that I'm not even fully utilizing it, but you can essentially go in on the back bar and search a company and search who their team is and search, what their revenue is. You can learn so many things, and there's so many different ways. But my favorite part about it is that if you save contacts, so for example, a couple of the contacts I've saved have been with Live Bay Lash or Glossier. It's just a couple brands that I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then, of course, I added a couple of the contacts because, again, I'm really trying to find this niche in the beauty industry because I want so badly to work on some of these projects. I think they'd be so fun for me. Shout out to any of those people. If you're listening, please place an order. It's not important. But so what it does is if you save these contacts and you save these companies, it gives you a kind of an internal homepage to all of those to where you can just see their company's posts or the people that you've saved. And then you can interact with a lot of their posts on their social media. And it's one of my favorite tools because it's getting your name in front of them. It's making yourself known. It's getting yourself kind of out there, but also it's boosting, it makes you look good on your LinkedIn. To an extent, it's making my LinkedIn look really good because it's showing that I'm active. And so it's boosting up my page and it's boosting up. And I'm noticing that every time I get on LinkedIn, I have 57 notifications. My numbers went from having 3 notifications a day to 20 notifications a day. And it's people adding me back and my network is building. And there's just, I've gone on a rant, but there's just so many tools to it. And so it's been really cool.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm curious because again, those are things that I'm preaching all the time, but I haven't invested in the Navigator side. So I'm super fascinated with what you're doing. And I do think that one of if you are, let's say you're in sales or marketing or whatever, and you're like, well, I don't want to create content and I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. I think you should, but
yes,
just interacting with the people that you want to do business with and liking their comments. And that is one of the ways that your name and your brand shows up on a regular basis without you having to do anything other than comment, share. It makes it very easy for you to build your brand with somebody just by engaging with them.
Absolutely. And for what it's worth, I do videos talking in front of a camera. Clearly, I'm comfortable with it considering I'm on a podcast as we speak.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
Right.
I did a post the other day, actually. I just saw it and was like, oh my gosh, I need to do another one of those this week. And I just gave a random tip. And then I did a carousel of pictures of, reasoning behind my tip. It's one of my best performing posts I've had on LinkedIn in a while. And I didn't put my face in it. And I frankly had ChatGPT brainstorm. Now I came up with the content for the most part by myself, but it helped me brainstorm some different topics that I could share more posts like this. It doesn't have to be your face. I think there is a level of personalization if your face is on there because it gives you a level of credibility. But your face can be a picture of you with your colleagues at an event. It can be your content doesn't have to be, this is a pen and this is what I sell. It just doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
There are so many things, and giving first, there's showing that kind of thing shows expertise of you in your field. And if I'm your consumer, if I'm coming to you to buy makeup, and your entire, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok or whatever, if that has no background to it, you lose points in my brain because you don't have that level of credibility. But if
Right.
I'm going to Live Bay Lash to buy lashes and I see that their Instagram is full of these beautiful eyelash extensions, I go, oh, they know what they're talking about. Like, look
Right.
at that. They've just proven their worth. And so build your brand and show your worth. And it's a free tool. Like, that's, I
Right.
just never get past the fact that it's a free tool. Utilize it. And so, yes, we pay for the LinkedIn Navigator, which is obviously a paid for tool, which is kind of the background. But there's so many different ways that you can utilize social media without being on the TikTok.
Yeah, on the TikTok. I love it. All right, good stuff. I love the rant from Jade. This is why she's your branding bestie. All right, well, hey, let's talk the product of the week. Speaking of standing
really
in front.
about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, my product of the week. I feel extra passionate about this one because I just did a self promo and I'm really excited about it. My product of the week is the midi sock. If you're not watching, this is where you should switch to the video part of this. This is a custom sock that I just recently did with my tortoise. So if you don't know me, it's important to know before I show these socks, I'm obsessed with the Grinch. Like, chronically obsessed with the Grinch, and it's Christmas time. I also have an obsession with Christmas socks. So we have my tortoise with a Santa hat, and then we have my dog with the Max antelope on front. And then, of course, on the foot of the sock, we have the Branding Bestie logo. The really cool thing about these socks is obviously these are fully custom, and we can do this with anybody's brand. We can pick what we do. They can be Christmas, they can be summer, they can be. The midi sock is my personal favorite. I think these are a trending one right now, as they are kind of mid ankle. So they're not, all the way up your calf, but they're not ankle socks kind of thing. I really like these. 50-piece minimum, fully custom. And they include this little poly sleeve. So you can put some extra messaging on the little sleeve that slides right on the sock. Again, it's $50 and everybody has feet. That was something that was said at our show. And I was like, smart. Everybody has feet. Everybody needs a pair of socks. And these ones are really nice. They're not the, I think sometimes there's an association that they're cheap. These are some nice, seriously thick socks. So I really like these.
Yeah, and I got the Grinch reference right away when I saw these because you sent these to me, but I didn't immediately understand that was Porsche. So that's
it's Porsche
and then
Maverick.
Yep. So that's pretty fun and creative job by the folks who did the socks, right?
That is the other thing too, is their team is amazing. Is if we kind of give them an idea of what we want and just let them run with it, they create magic like this. I literally was like, here's some random things I love.
Yeah.
I love Christmas. I love the Grinch. I love my dog. I love my turtle. And I like my logo. And they really said, here you go, girl. Here you go. So they killed these.
Yeah, that's super fun. Cool. All right. So that's the product of the week. We'll put some information in the shop about that. And then finally, each week we do a shout out to an organization or someone that's doing something cool. Went back and forth on this week. If you know of somebody or you want us to give somebody a shout out, please reach out to us, throw it in the comments. We're constantly looking to push out some good into the world. So please let us know. This week, I want to shout out a mural that was recently done here in downtown Coshocton, right off of Main Street. It's beautiful on the side of one of our buildings. It's the mural that says, "I'll take it from here." It is. It showcases the military taking the flag from first responders after the 9/11 tragedy. The original painting, I think, was done by somebody from Coshocton County. It's in Washington, and then it was redone by our local art teacher here as well. So ties to Coshocton County. It's just a really cool piece that is beautiful on Main Street. And when I travel to other places and I see really well done murals, that's stuff that people take pictures of, that they celebrate. And I think it's really cool. So that's a good one.
It's really cool. And also, like, in small towns, like you think of that in big cities to an extent. And again, it's what attracts you. And so to see it in a small town like that, and for them to bring that in is such a cool thing. I remember seeing it when I drove through and just being like, oh, wow, that looks amazing. And so
it really does look good.
It looks really cool and it catches your eye, and it's a really good one.
Cool. All right. Well, we've covered some ground today. It's going to wrap up today. But if you want to learn more about Hasseman Marketing and some of the stuff we do, just go to hassemanmarketing.com. We've got tools, we've got content, all kinds of good stuff. And obviously, if you want to learn more about those branding bestie socks, we will put information in the shop as well. As always, Jade, super fun to chat with you. Always appreciate it. See you next time.
See you. Bye.